Hello everyone, what's up, what's going on? My name is Eli Gazala. I create content creator about Israel and about the Middle East and about geopolitics in the point of view pro-Israeli and pro-Jewish and pro-Israel and this. And I want to speak with you today and about Somaliland, about the decision that the Israeli government by Benjamin Netanyahu to recognize, and also Israeli foreign policy to recognize Somaliland, that Somaliland is that state, and Israel is the only country and the only state in the United Nations that recognize Somaliland, international recognize to Somaliland, that independent country, independent state. First of all, I want to speak with you and talk with you about Somaliland and explain you about Somaliland. First of all, Somaliland is a country in the Eastern Africa, and Somaliland is state and country that managed by a doctor, is a modern Muslim nation that have stability, democracy, prosperity, and the economic prosperity, economic growth. And this is the only country in the Eastern Africa in the place our Horn of Africa, and also this, and Somaliland is a country in northern Somalia and northern Ethiopia, north from Somalia, and this is the part of the Italian land, that Italian colonial that control this land, and the Somalia controlled by the Great Britain, and also Somaliland are disconnect from Somalia in the civilian war. In the civilian war in Somalia, Somaliland disconnect from Somalia. And did you know about Somaliland is a nation that have a economic prosperity, economic growth, great economic, is the best economic in Eastern Africa and the best growth economic, and have trade there, agricultural, and also this Somaliland, this country, it's the only nation in northeastern Africa in the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, and also in Red Sea, in the southern Red Sea is the Somaliland. Are in the most southern Red Sea, in the Eden coast, and the Eden Gulf. And also I want to speak with you about Somaliland is the country that have economic prosperity, great economic prosperity for all people, and this managed without international aid to eat and to produce food, water, and this for all people. And this is only country in one moment. Somaliland is in Horn of Africa. This is one of the north in the Horn of Africa. It's one of the best prosperity and the best economic and the best stability and the best democracy in the Horn of Africa. And Somalia is a failure country, failure nation, failure economy, failure a lot of crime, a lot of poor, the ones of the poorest nation in the world. Somalia is the poorest nation in the world, but Somaliland is better than Somalia. And Israel take decision because of Somaliland also take decision to fight against the Houthis. Somaliland take decision to help Israel to fight against Houthis, and Israel gives Somaliland water, gives Somaliland desalination, and Israel gives Somaliland water from desalination, and also Israel helped Somalia to develop agriculture and economic development, economic collaboration, and also this. And I think is the one of the best decision for Israel take to recognize Somaliland, for international recognize for Somaliland, and this is one of the best situation for Somaliland and for Israel. And Israel give from Somaliland and build in Somaliland military bases, military air bases against Houthis, that Israel can to attack the Houthis and destroy the Houthis regime in Yemen. Thank to Somaliland, thank you Somaliland. People in Israel support Somaliland and support the decision to recognize Somaliland, and we fight against the Qatari regime, the Qatar regime by El Thani family, led by El Thani family, terrible regime, a Qatari regime, and Israel, Qatar is develop and build in a lot of years a toxic machine and the influence machine in the social media, Al Jazeera, and also this against Israel. A lot of bots in the social media and the AI, and also this. Qatar built an influence machine and influence toxic machine against Israel, and that is terrible. And Qatar and Turkey have interest in Somalia. Qatar and Turkey build a lot of bases, a lot of military bases in Somalia against Ethiopia, because Egypt also Egypt also against this decision. Egypt, I create video about how Egypt can to be danger for Israel, and also and in option that Israel can to create and Egypt can to declare in the ocean that Egypt declared war and invasion against Israel, and Egypt, if the Assisi regime fall, controlled by the Muslim Brotherhood, and Turkey and Qatar, and the Qatar, Syria Muslims Brotherhood proxies, and this is danger. This is danger for us. These countries and this ideology, this is Islamic ideology, is very big danger for us. And Qatar and Turkey have interest with Somalia. Somalia is the allies for Turkey, and Turkey control and occupied Somalia for take the all natural gas and the oil and the coal in Somalia to Turkey to income and revenue money, and to build the machine, the Turkey machine, to occupy the world. I think President of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, is the new Hitler of 21st century. It was a control the world. It's want to destroy the world. We need to stop Erdogan and Qatar and these regimes want to return the world to the 7th century. And also I want to speak and talk with you about the Somalia and Somaliland and this, and I listen that Somalia are I listen that Somalia, not Somalia, that Qatar and make campaign against Israel to the decision to recognize Somalia to independent country on independent state, and I think this is terrible, and also I think that if that we close so much war between Egypt, Turkey, and the Muslims Brotherhood proxies, that Qatar and this, against Ethiopia, war about water, that climate change agent and produce a war about water and war about agricultural land, and this is terrible. Climate change and climate crisis is a terrible problem around the world. We must stop it and solve this. This is one of the biggest problems in the world. And also, I wanted to speak and talk with you about the decision that recognize Israel, that recognize Somaliland. Trump, I think President Trump wants that and stand behind this decision that pressure Israel to recognize Somaliland, and the United States is the next to recognize Somaliland, that lead by President Trump. And also, I want to talk and speak with you about I think this decision is great, and this is geopolitical game changer around the world, that Israeli decision to recognize Somaliland, and also more countries than next turn to recognize Somaliland is UAE, United Arab Emirates, go to recognize Somaliland because they want to build a port and build a lot of port in Somaliland to develop Somaliland, and UAE see in what Somaliland the strategic country and state for influence. And I think Israel and United Arab Emirates, United States and Somaliland must do collaboration against Islamic jihadist, fundamentalist, terrible cult. This is not Islam, this is cult. Qatar is a cult, Turkey is a cult, Iran. And first of all, I want to speak with you about Iran. In last video, we closed the last video. I want to speak with you about Iran. The Iran regime, I do a lot of video about this. The Iran regime are under collapse. The Iran Ayatollah regime is under collapse because the people in Iran hate the regime. The people in Iran hate so much Iranian Ayatollah regime because they know this regime corrupt from the core, and they know this regime is danger. And this, did you know, 70% of all money of Iranian government are going to religion, to improve a religion, Shia Islamic cult religion. And also I want the other money go to destroy Israel, and this is terrible thing. We must to prevent and destroy and to win and defeat Iranian Ayatollah regime until the end. This is my opinion. And also I think that we need in Israel to help Iranian people. Iran publish a demonstrate against Iran publish condemn and denounce to condemn Israel about that Israel recognized Somaliland and the look the blue sky in Israel. And also Iran publish Ayatollah regime called terrible, publish condemn that Israel recognize uh, Somaliland, and I think the potential and the relationship between Israel to Somaliland it was amazing. You know why? Because tourism, business, water, agricultural. Israel can make Somaliland great again and make Somaliland the best countries and the best state in Africa, the richest state and the richest country in Africa and prosperity country in Africa, and build port and this. I think was amazing decision, and we must to fight and destroy the Ayatollah Iranian regime, and they condemn this decision, but the people in Iran condemn the regime. You know, Iran is country and state that people disconnect so much this regime, disconnect so much, have a disconnect and break between the people in Iran to the government, and this is why we see the money managing in Iran, and also the financial managing and fiscal managing in the Iranian government, and this is why we see the corruption in Iran. The reason why the people in Iran go to the street and demonstrate against the Iranian Ayatollah regime, that the Iranian people support Israel so much, but the Iran Ayatollah called terrible regime hate Israel. I think Iran and Israel are not enemies. The biggest enemy of Israel is the Iran Ayatollah regime, because did you know 85% of the Iranian people, 85% support Israel, and we talk about this. Follow me for more content.